Multiple NFL teams have Hendon Hooker over Will Levis on the draft boards. I mean, I'll tell you this up front. I wouldn't be shocked if Hendon Hooker was a starting quarterback in the NFL in a couple of years. Oh, I've been waiting to talk about this one. I really have. I knew eventually I was going to get to this because these rumors were going to come up. I knew it was only a matter of time. Whoa. Hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, what in the crap are you talking about? Well, that's a great question, and I have an even better answer. I am talking about the reports coming out that multiple NFL teams have Hendon Hooker over Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Multiple NFL teams have Hendon Hooker over Will Levis on the draft boards. Now, I think most people out there would say, okay, this is just delusional. That makes zero sense, but I disagree. I said it during the college football season. I said it after the season, and I still believe it till this day. I would take Hendon Hooker over Will Levis. Now, with the way Anthony Richardson has looked these past couple of weeks, I can't say the same thing anymore about that. As to where it stands today, I would have Anthony Richardson over Hendon Hooker, but I would have Hendon Hooker over Will Levis. But, and I have a really big but, and this is the biggest but out of them all, Hendon Hooker is in one of the oddest situations you're ever going to see. Had an amazing season last year, flat out unreal. Let me pull up the numbers real quick because I forgot them. Remember, he did miss the final 2 games, I believe. Yeah, the final 2 or 3 games. 3,135 passing yards, 27 touchdowns to check this out, only 2 INTs. QBR of 89.5. Oh yeah, by the way, that 89.5 QBR, that's only good enough to be first in the country. And if it wasn't for him getting hurt, he would have been a Heisman finalist and had a good chance of winning the Heisman Trophy. Would he have pulled it out from Caleb Williams? I don't know about all of that, but it would have been closer if he didn't get hurt. I told you guys before the season last year, he was my dark horse to win the Heisman Trophy, and he proved it this year. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But the biggest but, and it goes back to this, the one downside about him and the only negative thing people can say about him is he's 25 years old. I mean, let's face it, this guy's old as dirt. As much as people criticize Stetson Bennett for being old, they do the same thing for Hendon Hooker when it comes to the NFL draft. Most people are going, okay, why would we draft a 25-year-old quarterback who doesn't really have that much potential? And he doesn't. Hendon Hooker's potential is about as low as any other quarterback in this draft. Why is that? Because he's already peaked. Hendon Hooker isn't going to get that much better. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because as to where it stands now, I think he's a good quarterback. We're going to talk all about that in today's video. And also, we got not 1, not 2, but 3 other topics to go over as well. It's been a while since we've had 4 topics in a video. It's had to be over 4 or 5 months. One of those other topics includes, apparently, Mac Jones was being shopped around and Bill Belichick highly considered trading him. We're going to talk a little bit about that and also one of the best wide receivers in the draft, Jackson Smith-Njigba. That goes hand in hand with Mac Jones in the Patriots because apparently the Patriots are really high on him. It goes without being said, it's going to be a jam-packed video. Real quick before we get into the video, I forget to say this all the time. If you're new to the channel or you've simply been watching and you're not subscribed, consider joining our community. We are super close to 270,000 subscribers. It is 100% free to subscribe and you can always unsubscribe later. All right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, we're going to start out with our minor and probably really not even a topic, but it's more of a question. Somebody sent this to me and it says, Devontae Smith is a top blank wide receiver in the NFL. That is an interesting question. A lot of people in the comment section, they're saying top 20, and one guy even said top 8. I don't know about putting him in the top 8, but I would say for me, I got him as top 15. Or maybe even that's kind of pushing it because there's so many good wide receivers. I don't want to say 20 because that's too low. I'm going to say top 18. Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on to our second topic involving another wide receiver. We got JSN, a.k.a. Jackson Smith-Njigba. This is the guy who had the controversy at Ohio State where apparently people thought he was healthy and he wasn't healthy and blah, 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 blah. I'm not here to talk about all that. Long story short, he declared for the NFL draft and here we are. Many people felt like, hey, he could be wide receiver 1 in the draft, but there's many others who think he's wide receiver 3 or 4. Regardless of all that, it's being stated that JSN has reportedly had extensive meetings with the Patriots and they're getting along. Now, knowing Bill Belichick and the Patriots, we know dang well they don't want a guy like JSN. They're going to draft a guy out of North Dakota State that used to be a fisherman and he's retired. When it comes to the NFL draft, nobody, and I mean not a single soul, knows what Bill Belichick is going to do. Looking at New England, their offense is piss poor and terrible. Do they need a star wide receiver? Yes, they do. But they still might not go after him, and that's the main reason Tom Brady left. Tom Brady was begging them to get him some help, and they wouldn't do it, so he had no choice but to leave. If I'm a Patriot fan, this would be a guy I would more than love to have. Should they take him? Yes. Will they take him? Probably not. keep your eyes on that. Moving on to our third topic, keeping it involved with the Patriots. Apparently, they were shopping around Mac Jones. Interesting. I've seen a lot of comments saying, no, that can't be true. I refuse to believe it. And my immediate reaction is this. Well, I don't think they would shop their guy, and they've made it clear Mac Jones is their guy, but also, we're talking about Bill Belichick. Going back to what I said with the draft, you don't know what they're going to do in the draft, and you don't know what they're going to do in the offseason either. So I'm on the fence here. I could see this being real, but I could also see it being fake. The rumors I've been seeing a lot is that they were shopping Mac Jones so they could go after Lamar Jackson. To me at least, and I could be wrong, but that doesn't make too much sense to me because, I don't know, Lamar Jackson and a scrambling quarterback doesn't really seem like a guy that Bill Belichick wants. Doesn't seem like the Bill Belichick type of system, and you get what I'm trying to say. Just by going off of those minor topics, it's easy to tell there's a lot of intriguing stuff going on leading up to the draft. Believe it or not, it is coming around the corner. It's only 3 weeks away. But now finally, moving on to the main topic of the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video, we gotta talk about good old Hendon Hooker. As where it stands today, most people have Hendon Hooker as a 4th to 5th round selection. The highest I've seen him coming off the board is late in the 3rd round. That's the highest. But however, what's weird about this is, if you watch college football last season, Hendon Hooker was 2 times the quarterback Will Levis was, but yet Will Levis is in consideration to be a top 3 pick. So you mean to tell me teams are just going to take Will Levis over Hendon Hooker because of the age difference? That doesn't make too much sense to me. I mean, we're talking about a 3 to 4 year age difference. It's not that big of a deal. Or is it? Because NFL teams, they don't want to draft a guy that's already nearly 26 years old. These NFL teams, they want to get a kid who's 20, 21 years old and can come in and be the franchise guy for 15 years. I mean, hey, let's just face the facts. By the time you develop Hendon Hooker and he gets a couple of years under his belt, he's going to be dang near 30 years old. So that's a major concern, but also most people feel like Hendon Hooker was a product of Josh Heupel, and I would somewhat agree. Hendon Hooker was in a great case and scenario. He had one of the best opportunities out there, but here's the thing. You can't knock him for having a great opportunity. He capitalized on it. And that is my biggest takeaway from last year because it was hard to find another quarterback that was playing better than Hendon Hooker. Even Bryce Young, the best quarterback in the country last year, he couldn't have done too much better. And arguably, people would say that Hendon Hooker was better than Bryce Young last year. Now, I don't believe that, but a lot of people would say that at times. They say numbers don't lie. 27 touchdowns, 2 INTs. It's hard to do better. He was a great system quarterback, but that's the problem. A lot of people feel like it was one of those one-hit wonder type of years. But here's my question on all of this. What if it's not? What if Hendon Hooker is a really good quarterback who can win at the next level and also play really well at the next level? I mean, I'll tell you this up front. I wouldn't be shocked if Hendon Hooker was a starting quarterback in the NFL in a couple of years. I wouldn't be shocked if Hendon Hooker was winning games for a team and led a team to the playoffs. Why? Because I saw how good he was last year. So here are the red flags with Hendon Hooker. He's old, he doesn't have exceptional arm talent, and he's a rock in the pocket. He has terrible footwork. And I know most people don't even look at that, but when you go back and watch the film, he's not that great in the pocket. The way to stop Hendon Hooker is you bring a lot of pressure. For example, is Joe Burrow a dual threat quarterback? No, but he's athletic enough to escape and extend plays. Most people, and I'd say 98% of these scouts don't believe Hendon Hooker can do that at the next level. Can Hendon Hooker stand in the pocket and complete the 10-yard slants, the 20-yard post routes? Yes, of course he can do that. But in the NFL, you got to be a little bit mobile because these edge rushers and defensive linemen are unreal. It's not going to be easy pickings and sunshine and rainbows like it was at Tennessee where you're standing back there for 10 years. In the NFL, at max, you're going to be standing back there for 5 to 6 seconds. And more times than not, you're going to have 3 seconds to throw the ball, and if you want to extend the play, you got 5 or 6 seconds. And also, I can't believe I almost forgot to bring this up. He's coming off of ACL surgery. There's a lot of red flags about Hendon Hooker, and there's many reasons why you shouldn't pick him. But just like this comment says right here, it got me thinking. If Hooker wouldn't have gotten hurt, he would have been a top 10 pick and the Heisman winner last year if he hadn't gotten hurt. I don't know why he said that twice. No doubt, Duke can ball. You get what he was trying to say there, although he repeated himself. If he didn't get hurt, he'd be a top 10 pick. I don't know about all of that, but here's what I will say. Getting hurt, it killed his momentum. I think easily, if he doesn't get hurt and continues to have a great season, he's a first, second round pick, a lock. But when he got hurt, it almost felt like everybody forgot about him. Is that fair? No, but it's the reality of the situation. And I also saw some comments like this. Didn't Anthony Richardson outplay Hendon Hooker last year at his place, and he didn't have receivers running wide open like Hooker did? And that's a fair point. But remember, my point in this argument is I'm not saying that Hendon Hooker is better than Anthony Richardson because I don't believe that. I'm saying I think Hendon Hooker's better than Will Levis. And why do I believe that? With all the red flags, all the negatives about Hendon Hooker, is for one reason and one reason only. He's accurate. Will Levis, watch the tape. He's not accurate. Hendon Hooker, the best part about his game, the best part, not a single doubt in my mind, is accuracy. That is the only, I mean the absolute only reason I would pick Hendon Hooker, because he's accurate for the 5, 10, and 15-yard passes. Now, when it comes to the deep balls, he hits about 1 out of 2, but that's still pretty solid. And I've never understood this argument. Okay, sure, yeah, he's throwing to wide open wide receivers, but at the end of the day, he still made the throws. I can't put an asterisk beside all of his touchdown passes because his receivers were really good. He still made the throws. On the flip side, you're going, okay, Matt, you made your case for Hendon Hooker, but what about Will Levis? Well, here's my case against Will Levis. Why is everybody high on him? He's about 6'3". He looks like a stereotypical NFL quarterback, and he has a rocket launcher of an arm. I don't know if he throws the fastest ball, but he has some serious velocity and zip on every single pass he throws. He's got a strong arm. He's semi-athletic, similar to Joe Burrow, and he's got great footwork. But the one part about Will Levis's game, if you go back and watch the film from last year and the year before, is he's not very accurate. The one part about Will Levis's game that concerns me the most, if I'm an NFL team or NFL fan or GM, is he makes a lot of risky passes similar to Aaron Rodgers. I would say that Will Levis has a gunslinger mentality. He's so confident in his arm, he sometimes overestimates what he can do. Whereas with Hendon Hooker, he knows what he can do and he always makes the safe and right throws. The only question mark and unknown is, can Hendon Hooker process an NFL defense? That's the question. That's the unknowns. I would like to think he could eventually get to that point one day, but it's not going to be a walk in the park. I like Hendon Hooker. I've been high on him for the past year or two. If I'm a team in the early 3rd round and I need a quarterback and don't have one, I would highly consider taking him. And maybe if it's late in the 2nd round, still don't have a quarterback and I want one, I might pull the trigger on Hooker. As far as it goes for 1st round or early 2nd round, I couldn't do it. Too old, too many liabilities, but I wouldn't mind taking a risk late in the 2nd round or early 3rd round. No risk at all, no problem. I said no risk at all. I meant to say I have no problem with taking that risk. You get what I'm trying to say. And the reason I'm labeling this as an odd situation is because it is a risky pick to take Hendon Hooker if you're going to take him pretty high. I am very curious. Do y'all think I'm crazy or do y'all agree with me? Let me know your thoughts down below, but roll with it!